Hello, everyone. This is Motel A&M. I'm Michael, joined with
Alex.
It's a podcast where we talk about everything and anything.
So check yourself into your room and enjoy your stay.
Welcome back, everybody. What's good? How you doing, Alex?
I'm fat. No, I'm just kidding.
Doing fat?
It's fine.
It's good, going good. Real quick announcement: we have our website finally up at Motel A&M, no and in here this time.com. Feel free to visit us. We're also on Apple and Google. And right now we're having a little bit of issues. People can find us, but we can't find ourselves. So if you do find us, let us know. Send us a Snapchat.
Something.
Send us something. Send us something. So that way we know.
Also, shout out to all of our new listeners in the new countries.
Name them.
Indonesia.
Mm.
We got some Asian listeners.
Mm-hmm.
India. Zimbabwe. I don't know what they're
If you
doing.
could spell that without looking it up, you get a $5 gift card to McNoodles.
And Australia.
Australia, mate. They say mate, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably not how you say it, though.
No, not the way I say it. Today we have a special guest. Why don't you introduce yourselves to us?
What's up, everybody? My name is JL, and I am very pleased to be joining you all on the podcast today. Thank you guys for having me.
First guest.
First guest. He's seen everything from bloopers to failed starts. So he's literally the first VIP. So it's glad to have you on.
Thank you. Just making sure I'm at the right place, right?
No, I hope so.
All right.
You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Jill?
Oh man, I mean, I'm boring. There's not much to say, but I've known Alex since we were 5 years old, so that's probably like my main claim to fame here. Since that's the only relevance in my life, pretty much.
Any girlfriends, babies on the way? Future
goals? I mean, yeah, pretty much. I do have two of those three things that you just listed.
No goals.
no goals, but the other two do apply.
We do have a question for you, just so you can get yourself seated. What do you have your what's something in your life that you're really proud about?
Something in my life I'm really proud about, man. Well, as you guys might know, I'm a huge car guy. Mm-hmm. So I would say that I'm very proud of my car right now. For those of you who don't know me, I drive a Nissan 370Z, which was always my dream car growing up as a kid. Obviously, before it was a 350Z, but now we've leveled up. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
All right.
You know what's funny is when I was like out of college, I wanted to get a new car and I wanted to get the 350, and I went to the dealer. And the guy's like, "You don't want a 350?" I was like, "I don't." He's like, "That's for doctors and nurses. You work at Blockbuster." I was like, like I got stabbed in the heart.
Like you weren't good enough for it.
He showed me this 4-door sedan style Volkswagen, and I was like, he almost got me to buy it. I'm not gonna lie. Those car salesmen are aggressive. They are sharks. They are good at what they do.
That's actually funny that you said that, because like I don't know if you guys ever had this happen to you, but like you'd go to like a dealership, right, and checking out a car, and like you're probably like just out of high school at the time, mm-hmm. and like they'll just like look at you and they're just like, "Why the hell is this kid here?"
Mm-hmm.
Like won't even like waste like 2 seconds of their time to even acknowledge that you're there. They're like, this kid's probably just browsing cars, taking pictures, and he's gonna leave.
If you ever want to feel belittled, go to a car dealership right after high school, and they make you feel like you don't belong.
No, they're like, "What's your budget?" And they're like, "No, okay, buddy, there's the door. Here you go. Get the hell out of here."
They're like, "Do you know what credit is?"
It's funny because like you don't learn any of that in high school. I mean, I don't know if they're learning any of that stuff now, but when I was in high school, I thought you just got to save money, throw some money at them, make them dance, or like chase them with the money in your hand, because that's literally what everybody tells you. Like you gotta bait them in for what you want,
Mike, I do want to bring in something before we do move on. We do have a fact checker now behind the scenes, so if we do get something wrong, we could quickly try to fact check it.
Yes, sir. And we do have quite a bit of facts to recheck from the last episode. But real quick, what you have something you want to share? What did you just recently pick up?
Oh, so yeah. Um, I did start learning how to play guitar. Not starting to, pick or anything, but looking up videos. I guess that's a start or something.
The start
The bucket list.
to doing it. Yeah, yeah. Real quick, JL, we might
Yes,
put you on
sir.
blast, and you might forget it. It might go over your head, but please don't think like that.
Oh.
Do you have one item you'd like to share from a bucket list that you might have?
Hmm.
Ah. Bucket list item, eh? Let's see. I don't know, man. I mean, I've always wanted to travel, and if I guess I'm gonna be specific with it, I've always wanted to travel to Germany.
Ooh,
So that's definitely
Germany.
a bucket list item for
I
me.
guess I have to go with jail.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
I
We'll go
guess I'm not.
together.
I guess I'm not going. Whatever.
I, I don't think it's been on your bucket list, buddy.
What are you talking about?
You just
I've liked Germany. Me and Sid, we actually have. I think that's like one of the main reasons why we learned German in college was because we wanted to obviously learn a new language, but also Germany's been such a like a beauty to look at over the internet, and it'd be really awesome for I guess all of us to go
Mm-hmm.
see it in person.
So 4-way trip.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm down.
Michael was gonna hesitate. He's like,
I do want to go. I got to brush up on German, and Sid
Real
is our
quick,
translator.
well, real quick while we're talking about Germany though, like I always kind of regret how like back in college I never tried to do like one of those like foreign exchange programs where you could go like
Mhm.
study in Germany. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but like back when they did the World Cup in Germany, they apparently there's like a huge like community of like Hispanics in Germany.
what?
Which yeah, so it's like you think like oh you're gonna go to a place like this, someone feels so totally out of like fish out of water kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool to see that like they would show that there was like these huge communities of like Hispanic people that would like transfer there from like universities from like Central and Southern America.
Do they end up staying there or?
I mean, I don't know if they stayed there. A lot of them look like they're college students, like currently there.
Hmm,
But I mean, I would imagine at least some of them stay.
that'd be pretty cool.
Since we're on the topic of Germany, I want to bring something up that I couldn't believe I couldn't remember, and once I brought it to Alex, he couldn't believe he couldn't remember. So last episode, I talked about World War II and the Olympics. Now let me go ahead and just read you guys a couple facts because it's an inspiring story. All right. World War II, Olympics. That gentleman I was talking about, his name is Jesse Owens, the African American runner, the god of speed. Broke 5 world records at the time, equal to sixth record in the space of 45 minutes. His long jump would be held at 8.13 meters for that would last for 25 years. So a very long time. 1936 Berlin Games. He won 4 medals in the 100 meter, 200, 4x100 relay, and a long jump. And according to Olympic.org, Hitler wanted to prove that the Aryan race was superior during these games, and instead, the people of Berlin hailed Owens as a hero. It's a custom for the host of the leader country of the Olympics, where they're being held, to greet the winner. To greet the winner, but the big man refused. Isn't that crazy?
He didn't want to say
He didn't
congratulations
want
to
to
the.
congratulate. Yeah, he didn't want to congratulate Owens. I just think that's wild. Like when I was reading it, I was like, dude, imagine like being in that time frame, and like you said, like you're in the enemy territory and you're racing in the presence of uh the leader of that country at the time, who was not a very nice person, and you're just there. You're in the middle of it. I think that was crazy.
I think that'd be scared out of my life, pretty much type of thing. But like, all right, I'm just gonna race and I'm gonna go home. I don't want to stay here any longer than I do want to be.
And while I was reading some of that, he actually like made friends with one of the German, like one of their track stars. I think he had given him advice on how to do the long jump because he had gotten disqualified on his first 2 attempts, and then I guess he was crossing the line before he jumped,
Hmm.
and so the guy told him like, picture a foot ahead the line is where you actually need to jump, and that's what helped them become a competitor for him. And they were like in the games, like they both showed a lot of respect for each other, and even despite what was going on. Like they were still like really good sportsmen about it. I think that's cool.
Jill, any input?
Nah, I mean, that's an amazing story. I mean, I think, um, I don't know. I mean, I did track and field growing up, and I think you learn about Jesse Owens and like there's all these inspirational figures, but I think, yeah, it's definitely he's one guy that after all this time, like people always talk about, and it's partly because he was so good, and like you mentioned all the records that he held, but also partly the whole thing of doing that in Germany at that time. I mean, it also has like a big like cultural significance too.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get too probably political or culturally involved, but I think it also has to do with the fact that he was African American. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think just before Jackie Robertson was doing the same thing in baseball, where they didn't even want to accept him in baseball as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like the African Americans were excelling so much in sports, they were like people were kind of looking at each other like, man, these guys can really do some good stuff, you know?
Well, you want to know one of the quotes that I guess like one of the high officials in Germany said at the time
Hmm.
that it wasn't fair for an African American like Jesse Owens to compete because it was a race. It was like racing against a gazelle, and I was like, man,
He must have been that fast.
yeah. I mean, he wasn't just representing the United States. He was representing like African American culture, heritage, and all that good stuff. So what a hero, man. Have you guys ever been? Because you guys were track in high school. Did you guys ever have a race that you were like super nervous about, or one that stood like one race that stood higher than the other?
Joe, you can go first. You're the guest here.
Oh, all right. It's funny you mentioned this because I went on a run this morning, right? And I was on YouTube and I actually found an old video of like a race that I was in, right? Which is actually my last high school race. So we went to Sacramento and it ran a 2 mile. So this was actually my best time ever. Probably, actually, I'm surprised I didn't mention this. It's probably the thing that I'm most proud of because I probably will never forget it. But yeah, no, this was definitely. So yeah, I ran a 2 mile. It was like section finals for our division, and ran a 9:49. And like honestly, dude, it was like so like it's like so much preparation went in this day. Like I trained for this like for months, and I mean it's like it was pretty much like the buildup of like all my training throughout high school because it was like literally like my last race. So it was like it's the last time I'm gonna get to do it, so it was like a really big deal.
Like iconic moment for
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
like
So it's like one of those things you're just never gonna forget.
just go all out because you can never do it again, type of thing.
Definitely.
Um, Mine probably wasn't in track because I don't know for track because Joe pretty much knows how my time went in track. I was a really good like short distance runner for some reason, but I ran distance and when I would get to the higher distance, like I could never break 5 minutes on the mile, which is like pretty much something you have to do in distance pretty much. And but I would get really decent like half mile times, like 2:10 was like my lowest I got,
Dang.
and I started getting injuries after that. But in cross country, I think I did better than I expected to do. Because when I got to high school, I heard cross country. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, I don't know what that is. So I like put it off, and then I was like, I just waited till track season. And when I finally did cross country, me and Jill shared, I think, what is it like? What's it called? Like conference championships, pretty much. For
CCCs. Hmm?
yeah, well, like for us, the JV they didn't really matter. So it was like the top 10 of that race got medals. Were like the champions of the league, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And that made it so special to where, because I started so bad at the season, and then I was like one of the, I think I was like eighth in that race, and I think Joe got first in that, if I remember right.
Second, but
Second.
I remember specifically this race though that you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
Yeah, it was a cool moment.
it was really cool. Cause I'm like, man, I'll never be up to where these guys are, and then I ended up being, top eight in our whole conference.
After high school, did you guys ever look back at it and be like, man, like, do you regret not continuing it or being like more competitive, like with the school districts and stuff like that? Do you wish you would have like remained in track in college?
Well, I think I could speak for Jill that he actually kept doing it, but he just didn't see himself continuing to do it.
Mm.
I got injured so much my senior year. I just was like, I can't even do this anymore. But I wish I could have kept going, but I I
Was
just I just couldn't.
I don't know. I don't know if you want to speak on this, but your injury, was it track related? Like just from pushing it? Like were
Uh,
you running that intensely?
it wasn't intense. It was the surfaces I was running on and how I run.
Mm.
So I end up the way I run, I end up running on the sides of my feet. So I land on my feet, so all the pressure would go on my shins.
Oh,
So
so like
then,
shin splints.
yeah, shin splints was the one thing that
Uh,
got me so much.
that stuff hurts, man. I don't like shin splints at all.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the fact that you guys would do like an insane amount of mileage too. Because I remember specifically your team was well known for you guys would like run an insane amount of miles throughout the week.
For high school, it's
Which,
like
yeah,
insane.
for high school, you guys are already running like college level mileage, which was insane.
Dang.
Yeah, we would run probably 40 to 60 miles a week.
Oh, easily.
That was probably light.
That was light. What's
Yeah,
what's hard?
when I don't know why, but track would always be harder. We would run more to build even more endurance for some reason than cross
Hmm.
country. And the part that made it kind of cool was our coach would run with us, so he knew
Oh,
how hard it
nice.
was, kind of thing.
That's
But
nice of him.
well, I mean, my coach made it to Boston Marathon type of thing. Like he was out there. He was for his age. That's pretty cool.
Dang. So when yeah, I've never actually been in track. I regret it because after high school I started running a lot. But is for some of us, can you explain the difference between track and cross country? Like I know cross country is like more miles and more in stamina endurance wise, but like what's the main difference?
You want to speak on this, Joe?
Yeah, so the main difference, obviously, besides the mileage, would be the surfaces that you're running on. Track, you're always running on a track. Cross country is always outdoors. Could be at a park, golf course, you know, pretty much anywhere in the city streets. They'll just set up a course and they'll just map it out, say like a 5K, a 10K. You know, in high school, it was a 2 mile and a 3 mile. So I would be like, if we'd go to a school, I know at BUHAG, we had just a 2 mile and a 3 mile course around the school. If you went to one of the other places, maybe it'd be around the park or something like that. But yeah, those could get pretty intense, and I know Alex probably might have a story about Frogtown, which is probably like the craziest cross country course that you could probably ever run in California.
It is. It's literally 1 mile just uphill.
Ugh.
So running, I don't know if anyone's ever run uphill, but it's not fun at all.
Mm-mm.
And so you literally start out by doing a mile on flat surfaces, and then you do gradual hills that keep like it mounts up to a whole mile. And for us, we had to run the 3 mile, which is the 3 mile on its own is just terrible. Now add in like hills,
Mm-hmm.
you're done. I do remember, since you go uphill, there's not that many spots where people like have control over us, like people are watching. And I do remember some races like people wouldn't care and just like elbow you in the gut or like try to like shove you off the course.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Oh my god.
You're just like
sounds
trying.
sounds vicious.
Oh yeah, especially where people aren't even looking. They don't care. They'll just do whatever they can.
Oh, dude, that's another thing too. Like, I think people like, oh, you're like, oh, track, running is like, it's not a contact sport.
Mm-hmm.
Then but you do like distance running, and it's completely a contact sport because people like constantly would get trampled in like the start of these races, especially cross country. Because like you'll
Hmm.
see like there'll be like 100 to 200 people on a starting line. Like everyone's like bunched up so close, so it's like you literally like have no room to like extend your arms or anything. So people are just constantly falling over, and it's like, if you guys have gone far enough, they're not even gonna restart the race. Like it's just like get up and keep running.
Yeah.
Dang.
it just depends. You sometimes you just get lucky or you try to. The main thing is if you know you're faster than some of your teammates, you just get in front of them
Mm-hmm.
because then you don't want to be stuck behind them, then trample them as well, type of thing.
Yeah.
I
What
did,
were like some of the? Sorry. Go ahead.
Now I was just gonna mention with what Jill was going on about surfaces. It all had to depend on where we were running to. Because I do remember when we went to Modesto, we literally ran right next to like an airport. And it was just like
Hmm.
all asphalt. And then it went to like grass. Or like if you ran here in my high school, it went grass, dirt, grass again. And then you were on the track. I was like, what kind of course is this? Like, we don't have anything else?
What I was gonna say is, I don't know if you guys remember, but how would you guys prep nutrition wise? Because I mean, running takes a lot of like glycogen storages and myoglobin, all that scientific term stuff. Like, how would you guys prep before either, the breakfast and the day before?
So me and Joe went to different high schools, so I don't know how different it was to us. But every time we had a race before in cross, we would have pasta parties and literally just load up on carbs the day
Hmm.
before
Yeah.
and try to get a good sleep. But you never could because you, especially for Saturday invitationals, you would always like be so excited because you were going somewhere else to like compete against people you don't see so often instead of like the schools you see like every week type of thing.
Hmm.
But nutrition wise, I would eat a lot of fruit, and then after it was just like junk, just like
Just
get
junk food.
just anything I could after.
Yeah, I could imagine you need all that energy to recover from it.
I don't know what jail did. What did you guys do, Jill?
Actually, for cross country, we'd actually did the pasta parties too. I think it also kind of depended too, like what time we were running at. Because sometimes we were running so early that I was just like, all right, well, I'm good off like whatever I ate last night, and I was just didn't want to put anything in my body, so I wanted to
Mm.
be light. But if it was afternoon, well, obviously you gotta eat something. And that
Also,
was the thing too, because like especially like in track, you're kind of running, you get into like the heat, so
mhm.
especially like towards May, it starts to get pretty hot, and we'd have like races where it's like you're literally running like at 3:30 in the afternoon, like in the blazing heat. It's like already like getting up in the 90s, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So I mean, those were not fun. So you also didn't want to be stuffed for those.
I did want to say I think Jill can attest to this. You get so excited for your race or nervous that you start getting you have to go to the bathroom a lot, and it happens to everyone where the lines just start getting filled up. So you're waiting there. I'm like, my race is almost up, and you're like, I gotta go, type of thing. Because
Oh
you
yeah,
just
those are always the worst.
Did you guys ever? All right, I'm just gonna share a personal story real quick. So after high school, I would run a lot, and if I don't know, maybe I was dehydrated, maybe it's the heat, but I would have the worst stomach cramps and like intestinal indigestion stuff like that. Did you guys ever experience that like while you're in the middle of a race, like you just had to like go diarrhea or something?
not in a race, but during practice sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it depended on what I had. Because sometimes your lunch you don't get what you want, type of thing in high
Mm.
school, especially.
Hmm.
So you eat something that probably wasn't it. You're like, oh man. And for us, we wouldn't run like in the school. Like we would have to go out to like we'd run to the other side of town. You're like,
Yeah, yeah.
so where would we go to like, you know, to the bathroom? You'd be like, you gotta
Hmm.
hold it or you gotta do it somewhere, type of thing.
I remember listening about like track stuff and how people would like run to Foster Freeze, get some food, and then run back to the school. That might have been JL school. Did you guys do that?
I remember actually because me and Alex actually ran in middle school too,
Hmm.
and so when we were in middle school, right? It was literally there was like no structure to this, right? So the PE coach would basically give us a stopwatch, which is like you guys got to go run out for like 20, 30 minutes, whatever, right? So we'd go out, and it was like, so sometimes I'd get the stopwatch, right? And she's like, whoever got the stopwatch, you get to basically decide where you guys are running. So I'd bring everybody along with me. And so we'd run to like KFC or like Burger King or something and run in there and like, hey, can I get a cup of water? And then we just start filling it up with like Sprite or something because they can't tell the difference.
Oh, you're one of them kids, huh?
So we were one of those kids in middle school.
Well, you were speaking of people going to get food. We actually had an incident with that. So one of my last years in cross country, these freshman girls, we had to go do a workout for like 40 minutes, like 20 out and 20 back, wherever we had to go. And I guess they found out that these girls didn't even do the workout. Like they called someone to like come pick them up, and then they dropped them off as soon as the workout was ending. They like went to the store and everything. Yeah. Well, we're out there dying,
That'd be me.
so we weren't allowed to go off campus anymore. We had to stay in like in the area. I'm like, God damn it, you ruined for everyone, you know?
I remember for football in freshman year, people were ditching practices,
Hmm.
and like I remember, I don't know how many kids were there, but a lot of them had to like go up in front of the class and apologize and be like, "Why were you guys ditching class and everything?" Did they have to do that, or were they just like off the hook?
They wanted them to like fess up, but no one ever did.
No one ever did.
But we knew who they were, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the usual people.
All
I
right.
want to I want to bring it back to a little bit about your whole comment about the whole indigestion thing and when you're running, because I
That was
actually I actually have a story about this, right?
uh,
So it's probably my senior year, and so it's me and a good friend of mine. So we'd always run together. So we had a golf campus similar to like how I like to say. And we were pretty far out. We probably went out like 10. We went 10 miles that day. So we were like at least 5 miles out. And so we finally turned around and we're headed back. And so my friend tells me, he's like, bro, like I gotta go to the bathroom. Well, um, so I mean, people are not gonna know where this is, right? But I know you guys know where it's at. So if you go over the overpass on Buhack, going towards 140, you guys know that there's literally nothing out there but empty fields and houses.
yeah.
So there's literally no gas stations, nothing. So this guy's like, well, I gotta go to the bathroom, and the closest maybe bathroom that he could get was maybe like a little shop that was probably about 4 miles from where we were at. So he wasn't gonna make it. So he's like, all right, bro. He's like, I gotta figure something out. He's like, I'll catch you over there. I'll catch up. So okay, that's fine. So I see this man like run off into the field. No idea what he's gonna do, but man's gotta take care of his business. So he comes back, and so like he would always wear like these long, like I don't know if Alex you ever saw him, but they used to wear like these socks that were like for shin splints,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
really long, right? So he comes back, and it's very obvious that he's not wearing one of his socks. So I
Uh,
look at him, and I'm like, "Bro, what happened to your sock?" He's like, "Well, I didn't have paper, did I?" And so immediately I know what he's talking about, right? And I just break out laughing, and it was just yeah. So I'll never let him forget that one. But
At,
that was a funny story.
at that point, I throw out the other socks and no one suspect
yeah.
anything.
Yeah, you at least got a match.
Eat it. All right, Alex, we've been talking a lot about track. Let's go ahead and I don't want to cut us off, but we have something that we've been wanting to talk about for the past 5 episodes, probably since what, episode 1?
Yeah, ever since we like almost got into it.
Yeah, so we're going to continue on with that conversation. Real quick, JL, can you explain the Fermi paradox?
So, for those of you who are not familiar with this, it's just the concept that since, like, we keep with new technology and, like, high powered telescopes, they keep finding Earth like planets and all these stars, right? So, with the like hundreds and thousands of Earth like planets they keep finding, they're realizing, there's a lot of places that look like they could support life, but there's no aliens. So the idea behind the paradox is that there's something that's basically there's like a filter that is like blocks off like the production of life to like the point where it becomes like super intelligent. So then there's either two suggestions, either that we haven't hit that filter yet, or we're one of the few civilizations that's actually passed through the filter, and that's why we haven't seen any aliens. So either we're alone and we're the first ones to get this far, or we're not alone, but there's something ahead of us that might make it so we're not around anymore. So either way you look at it, it's pretty scary.
I did want to add to that, Jill, because I watched the video again, and uh, as you were saying, like there's probably something or something monitoring, so there isn't something getting too advanced, as to say like an older civilization of like aliens just wiping out life if it gets too advanced, type of thing. As soon as it gets too far advanced, and they could be like the only ones like out there, and that's why we can't find this certain species.
Yeah. So did you guys ever play Mass Effect?
I didn't.
No, no.
No. Okay. So like you guys should play first of all you guys should play it. It's a great game. But like that's kind of like the whole concept behind the game is like there's this like ancient race of like aliens that basically like constantly cleanses like life forms whenever they get too intelligent. Basically, it doesn't want like I guess it doesn't want anyone to rival them or anything. But it's just yeah, it's an interesting concept, and the fact that the paradox is true. I mean, it could actually be like a reality.
Yeah, do you guys? I mean, if you think about it, and maybe it's like cinema, kind of like not brainwashing us. I don't want to say brainwashing because that could be like a whole controversial word, but kind of influencing the way that we see like life on other planets because that does make sense if you think about it. Like if there's somebody who's more superior than somebody else, like they're gonna want to like dominate the other individuals, and so like what you guys are talking about is like, oh, it could be possible. I'm not saying it is, but like it.
It's a
That's what's
possibility.
so great. Yeah, it's a possibility. I just want to see like what do you guys think?
I just don't find the idea of like aliens looking like that type of thing, but the whole concept of something being out there, I mean, it's not, so outlandish. I believe there's something out there, but there's also this theory like, since the universe is getting so far, they keep expanding. Like we won't probably be able to ever find anything out there, type of thing.
It's so weird, like to actually try and think about that. Like,
It's always
like it's just
expanding.
so
Yeah,
hard. Always expanding,
yeah,
and it's like needle in the haystack.
yeah.
It's
Kind
kind
of
of
like,
crazy too, because it's almost like you're running against the clock,
Oh yeah.
hmm
because it's like everything's expanding so fast. So it's like maybe there's things that you could reach where there's actually like aliens, but if you take too long to get there, you're never gonna be able to reach it again.
that's also like another issue is like traveling in general outside of our solar system and galaxy. Because I mean, it's slow as a turtle up there. I mean, not that I've ever been there, but from what like we read, it's like time moves different up there. Alex was telling me that pens don't work in space.
Yeah, so apparently, since there's no gravity in space, ink doesn't, fall down, and it doesn't work. Same thing, like if think about like a liquid. So like whenever you see
Mm.
like a movie, the food always comes out like in a in a ball type of thing. So ink would never go down because of the gravity. So it'd always be floating.
Have you seen the videos where I think I saw a video like from I forgot where it was. We're gonna have to fact check, but the it's funny because the way astronauts use the restroom up there, how they like poop and
Mm.
pee,
And just shit
like
it out.
yeah, they have to like catch it a certain way because if they don't, it just kind of floats everywhere. Can you imagine just like sleeping, you wake up, you see like to see like this nugget just of poop just flying across from you.
Whose is this?
Oh, look at that. We got a fact check. Astronauts use a funnel equipped with a fan that suctions their pee away so it does not float away.
Oh, see,
Interesting.
so it's not just flying away in their spaceship.
Yeah.
First fact check.
Do you think they do shoot out in space?
Yeah, they actually do.
They
Eventually,
do?
yeah, eventually they do. Have you
Wow.
seen Apollo 13? It's what
Yeah, but like,
they shoot
okay.
their urine.
So like, what are the odds of us like going out into space and then just like a little turd just hits your helmet? Like,
I think it's really small because it's floating away.
oh, imagine another alien civilization's like a little piece of poop like hardens and like solidifies and gets into their atmosphere and they're like, what is this? They taste it. Oh, that'd be
Anyway,
all bad for them.
Could you imagine though? That's the way that they find out that we're
Yeah.
like we exist. They got hit by our poop in
Right.
space.
they're like, this is something we've never come across. Let's analyze it.
uh, Alex, you got any stories for us, bro, about the space? I know you've been doing a lot of research on this, and this is something you've always wanted to talk about for a while.
Not stories, but a lot of facts.
Mm-hmm.
Probably some stuff that will blow people's minds. So I found out that a full NASA suit, just one by itself, costs $12 million.
I read that too.
Wow.
It's insane.
12
That's just
That's
the
million.
insane.
suit. That's just the suit.
So that made me want to see how much it costs for a space shuttle just to launch, not how much it is
Mhm.
to build. It's $450 million just to launch a space shuttle into space. So
All right. So
NASA has a lot
who's
of
paying
money.
for that?
That's what I'm
Who's paying
saying.
for that? Are they like
You
those
know,
clothing companies where it's like if you're like an extra large or a large, they have to like increase production size, so they have to charge extra.
I wouldn't be surprised when NASA just starts having branding everywhere. It's like, Red Bull over here,
Yeah,
McDonald's on this
all
side.
this sponsored. What are
Like
you
we
gonna
need
say,
money.
Joe?
No, actually, on the topic of the space launches, though, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was watching a video a while back, and they were talking about how if we don't like get like a way to clean up things in space, like the amount of launches that you can do is actually limited. Because I guess whenever they launch a rocket into space, like parts of the rocket disassemble as it like,
Mm.
keeps progressing. And so some of that stuff like crashes back to Earth, but a lot of it stays in orbit. So eventually like from like all the debris from like that's left over and like satellites that we've launched in the past, there'll be like so much metal in the air that it'll become almost impossible to launch a rocket without hitting anything.
Damn.
So it's like it becomes so compromised that like if you don't clean it out, it wouldn't be able to be done safely.
Which is weird because I don't know if you guys know, but satellites eventually just stop orbiting and just come straight back to Earth, type of thing. As Joe was mentioning. So
I,
imagine it just like hits a house out of nowhere.
yeah, I
Just
was
drops
just
out of
about to
orbit.
ask you guys, because you've seen images and it's usually like on the like eco-friendly websites where they're like, this is what it could look like or might look like if we're not careful. And it's just like debris upon debris upon debris, and it looks like this dark technical cloud over Earth. Do you guys think that's what do you guys think about that?
Well, I do know that a lot of the big companies do send a lot. Like that's how we get most of our information. Like say like for TV and all that.
Hmm.
So I'm assuming there's like thousands upon thousands out there that we can't even see. Not
I
not
got
to.
a I got some facts here. More than 128 million pieces of debris smaller than a centimeter are up there. About
Damn.
900,000 pieces of debris 1 to 10 centimeters, and around 34,000 pieces of debris larger than 10 centimeters were estimated to be in orbit around Earth. That's insane.
That
That's a
is an
lot of
insane
trash.
amount.
Imagine if all of them
So,
just fell at once.
so now, like going up into like the moon and looking down on the Earth, it's not going to be like that pretty picture anymore. Like maybe there is like this light debris of darkness
Like
because of all the trash that we leave up there.
it looks like
Probably
a
just end
ring.
up looking like a haze or something,
Yeah.
Yeah, it would
like a
definitely probably
metal
wouldn't be
ring.
pretty. Well, back in February, I just want to bring this up because do you guys remember in 1977 there was the radio waves that came out, the frequencies,
Mm-hmm.
and people were like, "What is that?" And they really didn't even know, and they haven't even like shown up again. Well, back in February, team researchers, now I'm just gonna pretty much like shorten their name. It's called Chime/FRB. Published findings of radio signals from space that have been repeating between September 16th of 2018 and October 30th, 2019. Uh, they detected a pattern in bursts that would occur in 16 days over 4 days. The signal would be released into a burst or two each hour and would go silent for 12 days. And they detected 8 more new frequencies, and they're trying to figure out like what's going on. And some of these signals are traced all the way like 500 million light years away.
Damn.
And so that's just like it's kind of exciting because it's like, what if that is,
The
you
next
know,
civilization.
the next civilization trying to reach out, or and some of the like the hypothesis that a lot of the researching teams were saying is it's just like stars either forming galaxies or expanding or different metals and different galaxies like just rubbing together and making like enormous sounds. So that would be insane. I really do wish like they're like it's somebody else out there.
Not to veer off too much. I did end up showing Joe this interesting video. Uh, not to spoil it for everyone, but it's called "How the Universe Will End." So it's all like this prediction of how long the whole universe has left.
Hmm.
And
So spoiler alert, that's how the universe ends, guys. Confirmed.
but what you were saying is like how it's probably just stars like making noise. There's this one theory that it might end as black holes come so close to each other that it's literally bending time, space, and sound, and you can literally hear the universe like stretching because of how dense these black holes are, like trying to consume each other. And I don't
How
know.
does that even work, man? Now my mind just hurts trying to think about all this stuff because it's
You
like,
wanted this topic.
how do you even like comprehend that eventually nothing is gonna be. I mean, because based on that like hypothesis, nothing's gonna be here because we're all going to be stretched in like Play-Doh and stuff. I don't know. I just can't comprehend that. Maybe it's because my mind's too tiny,
Well,
like a little brain.
I'll just soothe your mind. It's probably trillions upon trillions and trillions of years away.
Oh, I know.
It's so far away. It's so far away.
But 2020 has been such a great year to us. No, real quick, I wanted to tell you guys. Do you remember when Stephen Hawking said he was gonna, him and like some universe were gonna go ahead and collide some particles together?
Yeah.
I was reading somewhere that he said that the world would end, and so people were like speculating that 2012 was the year that it had happened, that when the two particles collided and created another like parallel universe. Because according to people, I don't know if you guys remember the Tinkerbell. She'd fly over the Disney like castle and like, or there's like an altered like intro for Disney is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And people say they remember it, and some people say they don't. But when they go to research it,
it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. Have you?
I heard about
I
that.
have not.
I did hear about that theory, but I don't know why.
Yeah, dude. Like, what if he was true? Because I mean, he was a very smart individual. What if he ain't lying?
I mean, we ain't smart enough to probably comprehend all
No.
nothing that goes behind the scenes over there.
I could barely serve the appropriate amount of milk to my cereal, and I hate cereal.
That poses a very important question, guys. When pouring cereal, milk first or cereal first?
Cereal.
Okay. Glad to see we're all sane here.
But I don't eat cereal, so.
No, I actually do have a question though, related to what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And do you guys think that there might be like alternate reality universes that maybe are like branches off of like our own universe, or just like wherever, like kind of like the whole idea that like every single possibility will play out, like no matter what. So there's so many universes that everything's basically happening all at once.
So you're telling me there's another universe where I'm not poor?
Possibly.
Technically, yeah. That would be
based on what he just said, yeah. Well, I was actually reading there's a paradox about that, and it had to do with the grandfather one, where you would go back in time, kill your grandpa, and thus you wouldn't be born. But then scientists would argue that technically you could do that, but now you've created a separate timeline, part of you, like an alternate reality where you do exist still. And then there's another timeline where you go back and kill yourself. And there's another timeline where you don't kill yourself and you change the future. So like what you're saying pretty much like goes with it, creates like this massive like tree, branches of alternate universes. I think there is. I don't know, man. I'm trying to be like open-minded, and it would be nice to like be able to communicate. And I don't know if you've seen more on social media accounts, like more of like the knockoff like news chains or news channels and pages where people are like trying to communicate to another parallel universe. Have you guys seen that before? Or no?
I don't think so.
No, I gotta fact check that soon. But yeah, like people are believing into that theory a lot more, that there are parallel universes and they're trying to find ways to communicate or get in touch with those, which I don't know how you would even do that. Mathematically, they say it's impossible to do.
I think there's.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, so I think there's been like a huge thing lately too, like where it's kind of like become like a mainstream idea of like, oh yeah, like the whole alternate universes and things like that. I mean, like I think they kind of did it in, like the last Marvel movie with like Endgame. They kind of talked about that, and then they got like, I don't know if you guys watch like Rick and Morty, kind of the same thing, where they got like all these alternate versions of themselves and things like that. So I mean, I don't know if like a lot of it too kind of has to do with like that, where like you see things in the media, and that's kind of like what makes you think, oh well, yeah, you know what, maybe that's probably true, and it's not, maybe it's just a crazy idea, but the fact that you see it so often makes you believe it a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
That makes me kind of think about time travel too, though. They say it's like not scientifically possible, because I've seen Bill Nye talk about it, and I know this man's like one of the smartest people out there. He's saying it would be possible if there was some, because they make a way to like disassemble all our atoms, but bringing it back together is the issue type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I think the one issue with time travel, and also as the same thing with time travel, you start creating all these alternate timelines because it's not the original one anymore. Now you're back wherever you were.
Yeah. Well, like what I shared that story with you today. I couldn't technically comprehend what was going on. Maybe because I was just like so into finding information out. But real quick, they had two clocks. One was on the ground, one was on a plane. And what they did was on the plane and the ground kept them the same, started at the same time, and the plane traveled around the world. When it came back, they realized that time had slowed down by 1 second on the plane compared to the clock on the ground. So the faster that you time, or the faster that you travel, the slower time travels with you. And so that was kind of interesting to read that they were able to uh, reproduce those results over a couple tests and still saw that 1 second behind on the plane was the result.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's not even like explainable, right?
I don't know how to think about it. Like, how does it happen? And they did go with the rotation of the Earth that the plane had traveled in. And so, like, when I tried thinking about it, I was like, I don't even want to try. My brain started hurting.
So you're telling me if I go around the Earth long enough, I could time travel?
Theoretically, yes, you could.
Hmm.
I don't know how else to think about it. You got any opinions or comments on that?
I do not. I mean, that's crazy though.
Like, I don't even know.
The only thing I can think about when you mentioned that is just like remembering like watching like The Flash
Yeah.
when he like just like runs around the whole world like so fast that it just starts spinning the other way and everything starts going backwards.
I'm glad Jail said the Flash because that reminded me of Superman. Superman does the same thing where he goes
Yeah, I
around the
think
Earth,
Superman does the same thing too.
where he goes around the Earth.
Flashpoint.
What?
Flashpoint.
I don't
Good
know.
movie.
Oh,
It's the Flash. He goes back in time and just one. Has nothing with time travel. Would you change something? Because in Flashpoint, Flash saves his mom, which completely destroys the future.
that's
So, like,
that's
what
an
would you
interesting
do?
question. Like, would you guys go back in time just to see what would how things were, or to change something?
JL, you have the floor.
Oh man, I'm gonna sound like a greedy bastard right here, but
I love it already.
I'd totally just be feeding myself stock tips, man. To be honest with you,
Like putting notes on your car.
yeah, like 90, like I'm gonna tell my parents, hey guys, like as soon as this kid's born, you buy Apple stocks now.
But Jill, I'll play devil's advocate. There's a theory where if you change something, it'll change the whole rest of the universe type of thing. So, you becoming so rich will change so much about the whole world.
I know, but if you go back to
But
our
I'm rich.
earlier theory, it probably won't even matter because it'll be a different reality that I'm not
Yeah.
even in.
Oh, that is true. Oh man, we're getting deep with this one.
Welcome, listeners, to Mind Blown.
I think I would like to go and if there was a way for me not to be seen, I would just like to watch like history, like in general, like from the very beginning, see how like the Earth develops, how like we develop as humans, and like major battlefields of the world. And I don't want to interfere because I like my timeline right now. I don't know if I would like the one that we're in if I changed like something minor. I think that's what I would do.
I do like the history aspects of stuff, like just going to go see how different the world was to like what we see it nowadays, type of thing.
Mm-hmm. It would be super cool. Super
Yeah.
cool.
Do you guys ever watch Futurama?
No,
No, I'm sorry.
a few episodes, but not like.
I watched it when I was a
Like,
kid, but
yeah.
I like now.
Yeah, so there's like an episode, right, where like I guess like the professor he creates like this machine, and so like you can like basically go through time with it, but I think it only goes one way if I remember right. So basically what happens is like they jump too far like I think you have like a limited range, right? So if you jump too far back, you can't go far enough back to where you started. So they basically go too far forward where they're not able to go back where they started. So they basically have to go to the end of the universe, and it's just a continuous loop. Yeah, so it's like they go to so they go to the very end, and then everything just starts over again. But like while they're there, they're literally like sitting in this little chair, and they literally watch like the universe end, and they watch like the whole universe play back like right in front of them. So it
Damn.
kind of reminded me of that whole thing where
Mhm.
like you literally get to see like everything playing from like the start of time, basically all the way to the end of time. They got to see everything.
I'd be down for that.
I have an
Yeah, that's pretty
interest.
cool.
I have an interesting theory for you guys since we mentioned going back.
Hmm.
I did see it in Back to the Future, which I mentioned I've seen a lot. So what if you go back and you created this alternate timeline type of thing? Where does it change for you? So you've gone back to your own, like, let's say like your conception, right? Do you have like two entities in that timeline now because you've been there? Yourself as a baby and yourself, let's say like adult form.
Wouldn't that create a separate timeline, and you can't take part of that timeline anymore once you changed it? Because now, what if in that timeline that you just altered, you're not even born?
Yeah.
So I think you'd have to go like
Far
on a
enough back.
separate. No, like you're asking like how would it be like when you come back to the present?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'd
so I
probably
think
like
it'd be you would
what's
just kind of like
just
come on back in, like how they do, like how Marty McFly and Doc do, just come back and things are, yeah. But I don't think you could ever return back to that original timeline.
as soon as you go back.
You
Like
can never go
once,
back.
yeah. It's gonna be a
Oh,
different
that's
one.
it.
I think it becomes a paradox too, like if there ends up being two of you in the same time,
that's
kind of
what
thing.
that's what I
You
wanted to
know?
get to.
Like yeah, like I don't think like that's possible.
Mm-mm. What
And
if you have an evil one? Actually, I did read something that like says like if that were to happen, I think there would be a more darker, sinister side of it than actual good.
that's your parallel universe.
I don't like
Maybe
a
it's
lot of these
your
are hard to think about.
Should we get
it's
back
your
to space?
Huh?
Should we get back to space? What was the original topic?
I have one last thing while we're
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
tangent
Well,
Yeah.
that's related. And all right, so have you ever guys heard the thing of like the boat where it's like you have a boat, right? It's an old boat. So they
Mm.
start like fixing up the boat. So they use the old parts of the boat to build a new boat. So it's like at what point does the old boat become a new boat and the new boat become the old boat
hmm.
when you've transferred so many parts? Because it's like at one point, like the old boat's gonna be 50 old parts, 50 new parts, and the other boat's also gonna be 50 old parts and 50 new parts.
That's just a boat, man. I'm not even trying to think if it's new or old.
No, he's saying like it's two different boats.
No, I know, I know.
So
I
then it's kind of
I
like,
read that one.
and then I've heard like they kind of usually go like with like teleportation with that stuff. So like if you teleported yourself back in time, like all of your molecules basically went back in time, but they like reassembled and like unassembled and reassembled. Would you still be the same person?
Just look at Michael's face. The issue with that would be like you'd have to be, well, you'd essentially have to be the same person, but would your molecules know that type of thing?
Yeah, yeah. Like what if they just like refreshed?
You're like, you're missing a limb now because they didn't know how to attach itself right.
Like
Eh,
all the information's there, but it's all unordered.
Yeah.
I didn't come to theory class, okay? I'm doing a podcast.
We talk about anything and everything here, okay?
That's interesting because I didn't really think about that. I mean, it would work itself out. You might not be the same person, but
Your arms on your head, you have your hands sticking out of your head like this,
yeah, like that. Be a cool little trick, like
but you don't have a
you,
hand over here.
but like you have like a hat on. And you're like, want to see my party trick? And then your hand just pops out like, right here.
Where's your hand though?
Uh, yeah, I don't. I whatever happens, happens. I don't think we have that control, unless, like Bill Nye says, we have a way to put them back where they originally were. But that would be hard.
I think that's the issue with time travel. That's why we haven't been able to do it yet, or the reason we can't. or shouldn't.
Or because if we go back to this and not use the molecules but use speed, we have to have a G suit that could help us.
All right,
No,
Flash. He wants to be the
no,
Flash.
but like literally, like if we go fast enough, or because I think you have to travel faster than the speed of light, which I need a fact check on that. What is the speed of light?
Isn't it
How fast is it?
9.82 meters per second, something like that?
Possibly, but how much faster
That
do we
seems
have to
slow.
how fast do we have to travel to go faster than that? All right, I have the answer.
That was fast.
It's
that was speed of light.
uh oh man, it's fast, bro.
That's insanely fast.
It's 3 million kilometers per second approximately is how fast we have to travel in order to travel faster than the speed of light. So if we were to do that, we have to make like a suit that could take all those G's. Y'all feel?
And your body.
Well, yeah, like the suit's gonna protect your
Yeah.
body from like getting all like meshed and destroyed. Because think about the pressure your body would go under just going that fast. Like that's a lot of pressure.
You have to be compressed enough to not feel all that.
Yeah, I think that's more possible than anything. But I mean, are we ever gonna make something travel that fast? Maybe, maybe like 300 more years in the future.
We're not advanced yet.
You need the aliens to come bring us the tech, bro.
Well, just like me and Alex had mentioned earlier, like who knows? Like maybe there is somebody out there like working specifically on. I know there are people working on this, but specifically on like what we're talking about. And
So, oh, go ahead, finish your thought. 'Cause I have
Oh.
something to add.
no, but like I don't think they expected us to be this, make as many leaps in technology as we have the past couple of years. Maybe time travel could be something, hoping it would be something closer than what we're expecting. What are you gonna say?
Blanked.
It happens a lot when Michael goes on his tangents.
I have that effect on people.
Nah, it'll come back to me. When it comes back to me, I'll let you know.
All right, let's go back to space.
All
I know,
guys.
Alex.
It came back to me. It came
Okay.
back to me.
He got it. He got it. He got it.
I got it. Nah, okay, so I'm sure you all heard about the files that the government released, like the UFO confirmed sightings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you guys think that the government is covering up aliens? Or do they have UFO technology?
Yes to both.
Yeah, I mean, not watch, but
I watch Independence Day. I
call
know.
me. I know what we're talking about. Call me a little crazy. But I like to keep an open mind. So one of the podcasts I listen to, they actually mention stuff like this and how they kind of do like the research. And there's a guy who says like he's been down there working on Area 51, and they have people like working with aliens and this and that. So I mean, I wouldn't put it past like our government to hide stuff like that from us. Maybe because we're not ready.
Yeah, or a panic.
Yeah, because I saw a post that said like, you guys want the government to expose aliens, but look at what you did for like COVID, pretty much, and how they reacted, to how everybody bought out toilet paper at the beginning.
I don't
Here
understand
in the
why toilet
States.
paper.
You would think
Right.
water, food, but nah, man, ass is more important than all that apparently.
Come on, Joe's friend used a sock. You can keep washing the sock.
There you go, bro.
There's some communities that do that, not socks, but they do use like towels. I remember those
Come on.
cheapskates.
You gotta
Cheapskates
go
on,
European, guys. Gotta get a bidet.
they're actually kind of comfortable. I'm not gonna lie.
I've actually never used one.
My mom actually wants to buy one for the house.
My household, we have two, and they are a different experience. But let me tell you, we weren't panicking for toilet paper. We're not. All right, Alex, go ahead, man. Take the floor away with your
Just
space,
Space facts. Get back to space after 20 minutes.
bro.
Get
That
on
all started
tangents.
from the spacesuit.
Yeah.
We only talked about the spacesuit.
All right, so you guys know how cold space is?
Negative 30 degrees Celsius.
You're really close. Not
Negative 48.
not really.
Okay, never mind.
Negative 270 degrees Celsius.
I was off by like a couple hair.
Couple hair. That's cold, man.
That's
No
really
wonder
cold.
they
Yeah.
freezes up there.
How do they make equipment? Okay, no, I'm not even gonna ask questions. Okay,
Well,
continue,
tomorrow
man.
I'm assuming they have something, because it's the void. So like when you're out like a certain distance away, so I'm assuming the closer you are to Earth, or the sun, I should say, it's a little. I'm assuming more warmer than it is out there.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it like if you're in a vacuum, it's like absolute zero, which I think is like negative 273.
Which is
Mm-hmm.
which is
Isn't
that
that
pretty
Kelvin
much.
though? Wait, no, I could be saying something
Oh
else.
man, crucify him. Fact check him now.
No. I'm gonna try not. I'm gonna refrain a lot of questions because I don't want to forget about your list again and put this on another episode.
No. It's fine. We can keep doing it. This is why it's here.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna ask like how did they figure out that they needed that much? Oh, actually, no, I'm not gonna say it because we're gonna bring up a real bad memory for us, man.
What's up?
What was that dog's name? Layla? Lulu?
Leica.
Laika.
The
Why don't you tell
first.
that story real quick?
Yeah. So the first dog sent to space was called Leica. She was a, let's say, homeless dog, just a street dog, I should say,
All right.
a street dog in the streets of Russia, and they just wanted to test if they could be, if they were able to go to space, pretty much. So the day before they were gonna launch the shuttle, they took her home and made her feel like, welcomed, like as a normal dog, I should say. And then the next day they sent her out, and as soon as they heard her barking out in space, they knew they had done it, pretty much. And she eventually came down towards Earth, because she wasn't orbiting so much. She eventually just plummeted back to Earth in a great ball of fire.
Oh,
Oh God.
I think I would have rather had her die. And actually,
No,
I
but
don't know, man.
well, the issue is, if you fly out, like they only got her to fly out to orbit, and you can only
Mhm.
orbit so much. So she ended up
Yeah.
coming back.
I guess it's a better way than her being alone in space and
Well, also-
freezing, dying, and
Also, think about it. I don't know if you guys knew, but they need heat shields when they come back in, because you're coming down at such a high speed.
Mhm.
This was the start of going to space, so they didn't know they needed that. So
Poor Lila, whatever her name is.
Leica,
Laika. I gotta remember that. I'm gonna get her tattooed on me.
Leica. She was a little fun fact. The shuttle was called Sputnik 2.
Sputnik. There's even a song you guys could listen to. Alex has that song, I believe.
Yeah, but it's in Spanish, so
Still a good song once you translate it.
yeah.
Wait, what's the song?
It's just called Leica.
Oh, it's a song about the dog?
Yeah. Joe's so
crazy.
sad now.
I thought it was about
Mad. That
I
is
was expecting it
wild.
to be about Sputnik, but that's crazy.
No, it's about the dog. It gets you in the feels after
Yeah, man.
everything.
After Alex showed me that, I was like, "Why'd you gotta show me this, man? That made me
Get
sad."
miserable with me.
Because like pets and dogs, they're any pet that you have, like they're innocent.
You get attached.
They're just pure, and you get attached to them. And I didn't know this dog, but I kind of got attached to her. Like, why? Why they gotta do that to her?
And to think it happened like so much before we were even born.
Mm-hmm. Telling you, man, great leaps in exploration. All right, what's next, Alex?
Do you guys know why there's no sound in space? Like when you
The
go out
vacuum?
well, why it's a vacuum, pretty much? Like why you can't hear anything in space?
No gravity?
No.
No, no sound wave? I don't know, man.
It's because the molecules are too far to transmit sound.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. Dude, why is this so complicated? So like, dude, like now that you say it like that, like I can't even picture space like as just an empty space.
Yeah, it's quiet. It's quiet.
It's like, how we see our Discord video, right?
Yeah, we could see
And
ourselves talking.
around the video, it's black. Like that's how I saw space. But now that you say molecules and crap like that, it's like it just changes the way I think about space and how we float in space. It's like, okay, like I said, I'm not gonna get too into it. I don't want to go over time. What's the
Um,
next one?
so this will probably go back to our alien thing, but in our observable universe, in ours, there's an estimated 2 trillion galaxies, which
In
begs
our universe, 2 trillion.
where we can see that like there's stuff we still can't see.
Mm-hmm.
So that begs the question: where is the rest of life?
Yeah. Do you think we ever will find it?
No, I honestly
No.
don't. I like Joe
Okay.
was saying, like we're running against the clock, and I don't think we're getting it done fast enough to where we can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I kind of feel like we might find something. I just don't know if it's gonna be like super evolved. Like we might find like germs or something, like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I thought he was gonna.
Bacteria.
I thought he was gonna say like some caveman still
Oh.
trying to make fire on another
I
planet.
mean,
Honestly, I thought
honestly,
the same too.
no, if we found like a caveman, like that'd be pretty insane. I mean, like
Yeah,
that's gonna be like a highly intelligent thing, and like, relatively speaking, not that far off.
yeah.
But no, I think it's gonna be something like simple. Like, oh yeah, they found like these like I don't know, like microorganisms living off under a rock on the moon somewhere, kind of thing.
It just made me think too. How you said we're running on time. It's like, what if we do get a transmission from some civilization, but they're like
It's
two
been
billion
traveling.
years in light years away, so that we're technically hearing a dead civilization, that possibly dead civilization.
Never know. If it was like a distress signal,
Yeah, and
help
like
us and
because
That's
it like the waves travel like really slow, so like how when you look up in the sky you're actually seeing something from so far back in the past, you're
yeah,
not
dead
even seeing the
stars.
present. So it's the same thing with like voices or communication frequencies. So, like, what if we're listening to something in the past but it's no longer there in the future or in the present or future?
dude,
Man,
that's terrifying.
that's wild.
Man, that is wild.
I have a theory for you guys. I don't know if
Hmm.
you guys will think of it. All right, so there's a theory that the moon is a broken part of the Earth. After a giant object hit the Earth, so it pretty much broke off the Earth, and now it just started to orbit the Earth because of the pull from the Earth. What do you guys think of that?
Where would it have came from?
That's what I'm thinking too. But you know,
The Grand Canyon? I mean, it's possible like chips of the Earth could have like broken off during some sort of impact, and then well, I don't even, dude. Don't ask me these questions. I don't know,
it's a theory.
because when
Like,
I start thinking about it, I'm like, I can't think, I can't process the information I'm thinking.
like that sounds like I don't know. I feel like it makes sense. Like my question though, like I don't know. I never really thought about this, and I guess it would apply to the Earth too. It's like, what makes it so round?
Maybe the gravitational pull.
But
I mean, it could be that, but it's just like, because I don't know. I don't know if you guys ever heard this thing, but it was like they were saying how, what is it? It's. I mean, I feel bad because I don't want to like insult anyone that's from the state, but there's some like mid middle of the U.S. state that's like ridiculously flat, and I want to say it's Kentucky, but it might not be Kentucky. So you might want to fact check like that one. But
Fact checks.
yeah, but basically the thing is they say that it's flatter than a pancake, and then I guess like if you were to actually like scale it, like it actually is like insane. Like basically the whole like Earth is flatter than a pancake just by the scale of it.
are you talking about just that state?
No, like I'm saying like the whole so like they say that like that state is flatter than a pancake, and
Yeah.
someone did the research and they're saying that like by scale, the whole like Earth is like flatter than a pancake. So like even though like you see like all like these valleys and like you got the Grand Canyon,
Yeah.
like Mount Everest and all this stuff, like comparison when if you were to scale like a pancake and fold it up like the Earth basically,
I get you.
it would have like these huge craters that would like make those things look like
That's insane.
non-existent.
I know what he's talking about.
Flat Earthers.
No. He's saying to like take a pancake and just like fold it up.
Yeah, fold it up. Yeah,
And if it had like little dents, that would be like valleys and
and mountain ranges and all
Yeah.
that good stuff.
Yeah, so basically if like the Earth was small enough for you to hold in your hand, like it would look like a perfect sphere.
yeah.
Where that though?
if if okay.
That's interesting. I never thought of it. So Kentucky is just super flat.
Did we get a fact check on that?
Not sure.
Okay.
We can move on. We can always
Yeah.
come back to it.
Just a little few things before we end up going. Do you guys know how far it is to get to outer space?
I do.
Negative. I do not.
Well, I told you this earlier.
Yeah.
It's only 62 miles away from sea level. So there's this the Kármán line sits at 62 miles above sea level and is conventionally used as the start of outer space for space treaties or any other documents used from to form anything for space. It's crazy. It's like an hour drive pretty much.
Yeah, it's an hour drive to space. I think that's why people think it's so achievable to make
To go to
space travel
Yeah.
such like to turn it into reality because we're so close to it. Elon Musk has always wanted to do stuff like that.
But isn't it also you have to have so much that's why you have the space shuttles with like huge rockets. The
Hmm.
amount of like force you have to be able to get out.
I remember my dad was talking, and I guess at some point in his life they were talking about space travel and using the orbit as a means of transportation.
Mm.
So the idea was you shoot a plane full of passengers into the orbit, and because the Earth is spinning so fast, a 18-hour flight would now become a 4-hour flight. And so you go up, Earth spins, you come back down at your destination, kind of like space travel. And I always thought that was going to be something because it's achievable, I guess, right?
You just have to hold yourself up there for 4 hours.
Well, like the journey, it's like I'm gonna say like Aruba is like 11 to 24 hours depending who you go through.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole day just to get there by plane. And so, if I could make that in like 4 hours,
Sign me up.
I'd be down. Sign me up. I will be your first test pilot, suckers. Test passenger, not pilot. I can't even fly.
Jill, you want me to blow your mind right now?
Sure.
Did you know Pluto in diameter is smaller than the length of the United States?
I did not know that actually.
So
That's
pretty
insane.
so Pluto is only 2,374 kilometers, which translates to 1,475 miles. And the US is 4,650 kilometers or 2,889 miles across.
Do you happen to know if Pluto is smaller than the moon?
I think it is.
I wouldn't even put past it because considering this number, it's really small.
Yeah, I would think that the moon is bigger than the US, you know?
Yeah. Can we get a fact check on that one if we can? Just I know he's out there somewhere.
He's like, you guys don't pay me enough for this. Yeah, honestly, I do think the moon is bigger than Pluto.
It doesn't seem that small.
Not at all.
I know you guys like diamonds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Need some money off of diamonds.
Yeah.
So they have found, when I say they, I mean NASA, have found a planet made completely out of diamonds.
I've heard of this.
It's called 55 Cancer E, but it's almost 40 light years away, so good luck getting there.
Fact check came through. Pluto is smaller than 7 of the moons in our solar system, but large enough for gravity to have provided its mass with its spherical shape. Answer your question.
No, we just asked if it's smaller than our moon.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it qualifies as smaller because we Saturn and Jupiter still have their moons that are pretty like Titan and all them. Like those are still pretty big. It's 1/6 the size of Earth, and it is smaller than our moon.
Okay. Thank you.
There you go. Thanks, fact checks. You have anything else?
You want to keep going on space or?
I have one thing related to space.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Alright, so what is the one thing, like the one crazy space advancement you think you'll get to see in our lifetime?
I like that.
Mm.
I do Okay, so I don't know if you. Well, I'm pretty sure you guys know this, but you guys know since I don't think I think since Apollo 13, they haven't sent man to the moon anymore. So it's all been like local, like just repairs to the International Space Station. So I wish we could send people back to the moon. Just at least just get there. Like if we can't even do that, how the hell are we gonna find aliens? You know?
True.
I
Or get
wish
to Mars.
I wish we could just at least do that. Like get to the moon again.
I I would like want us to go to Mars and live there and start life there, but because of like the way we'd have to live and the means of getting the resources would be very hard and limited since we'd have to travel back to Earth. I think it's a little unrealistic right now, but I would that's one thing I would love to see. But well, the question is, what do you think will happen in our lifetime?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What would you like to see happen?
Travel to Mars and live there.
Yes, that's an interesting one actually. So let's just say that like the opportunity, like they had everything ready. Like they say, Michael, Alex, you guys have the chance to go live on Mars, but it's a one-way trip. You guys ain't coming back. Like you're gonna live the rest of your life on Mars. That's where you're gonna die.
Bye guys.
You doing it
Later,
or not?
suckers. Heck yeah.
Motel A&M will die.
Yep.
We'll
I'm
live on
definitely do it.
Mars. I would.
I would. But I don't know.
I think
I don't know.
I'd concur with you guys. I don't
Can
think
we
I'd be
invite
able
like
to
a couple more
let that one
people,
down.
or is it
But
just us?
I think the issue would come down to can we handle the G's to get out?
Yeah, we got this.
I don't know, man. I almost passed out on a little county fair roller coaster.
That's true. Real quick, Alex, on December 11th, 1972, Cernan, and Harrison Schmitt landed the Apollo 17 on the surface of the moon. It became the last two people to set foot on the moon.
Yeah, so Apollo 17 was the last one. In 1972, that's almost
50 years.
years since
It's
we've
like,
done
what, 48?
anything. Since we've done anything. It's kind of insane.
That's insane.
I wish we could go.
And, as I said, we're spending 450 million just to go do repairs.
That doesn't include our suit.
Plus all the suits that are going.
All right, that was a really good question to end off of. But before we go, I want to get your input on your own question.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I think that, and I'd like to see it happen. I think it's realistically attainable. I think we'll get to see a moon base in our lifetime.
That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Maybe I'm being optimistic, but I think that'd be some pretty good progress. And I think it's not. I don't think it's too crazy. That'd be nice to see.
Mike, before we go, we have to talk about what we were researching yesterday. We have since we're getting really close to Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
I found this article yesterday about the most popular costumes.
Oh
the
yeah,
years,
that's right.
the years we were born.
I forgot.
Jill, do you want
Go
to
ahead.
do you want to take a stab at what the most popular costume was when we were born in '95?
Oh man, dude, what was even popular at the time? I mean, can you give me like a hint? Come on.
It's based off a movie that was really popular in the time.
Nah,
There's a
man,
lot of
I
popular
don't.
movies.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not.
It was a comedy movie.
Yeah, it was a
I don't have a
comedy.
fair guess. Nah, I don't. I don't have a fair guess.
It's gonna be so funny for you. So it was Lloyd Christmas and Harry Dunn from Dumb and Dumber. Do you remember the tuxedo scene?
Yes, I do.
Everyone was buying the tuxedos to be Dumb and Dumber in '95.
That's pretty crazy, dude. Dude, I can't remember the last time I watched Dumb and Dumber. That's a great movie.
Yeah. Now we have 1993 for Old Man Mike's out here.
Hell yeah, where my '93 babies at? Come on, it's Halloween, baby.
So what was popular in '93 was Power Rangers because the movie had just come out, and the demand was so high for these Power Ranger suits that they ran out in the stores. So parents had to end up making their own and sending their kids out like that.
Dude, I kind of want to go back. And I want to research like these kids' costumes because they got to be a little funny to look at, like failed costumes.
All right, that's everything from me, Mike.
It's
Yeah.
all. All right, JL, do you have anything else you want to say? Well, before we end,
Shout any people
Uh,
out.
I don't.
Say hi to your
I
mom.
no, my mom's ashamed of me.
to say join the club.
They're not allowed
Nah,
in that
all I
boat.
want to say is I thank you guys for having me on. Honestly, big props to you guys. I think it's really cool that you guys decided to do this. And I mean, I think a lot of people say they're gonna do something like this. You guys are one of the few that actually did the steps to actually get it started, man. And honestly, that's a big thing. So I wish you guys all the best going forward, and maybe I'll get to come back on when you guys are super famous, or maybe you guys will be too famous for me, and I won't get invited back. But who knows?
Nah,
Either way, I'll keep listening.
those are very kind words. Yeah, man, I'd for sure have you back on whenever you want. Fit you into our extremely busy schedules. We have so many people booked, ready to come back onto the show.
Hey, but you were the first one.
Yeah, this one will be like another special episode for us because, like I said, first guest, you get to see everything.
I will ask you guys one thing.
Yeah.
You guys got to ask your next guest to not like completely knock it out of the park and make me look bad. I mean, come on, I was like the test dummy, so
Yeah.
be kind.
Yeah, we were testing the waters too with the guests. We were kind of worried about this whole thing.
I had fun.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun.
it was fun. It was fun. I liked it. I
The
enjoyed
space,
it.
dude. The space conversation. You could go on.
I still
and
have
on.
more, baby.
We'll do a part 2 with JL on space, and we'll get some more stuff.
And time travel.
Yeah. So before we go, we do have something special planned for Saturday. So it'll be a longer episode. I'm not going to give too much. We're both really excited to release that and start recording it.
For Halloween,
So I hope
baby.
you guys. Yep, Halloween. It's Halloween, baby. Got to make that shirt. All right, guys. This is Motel A&M. I'm Michael. I'm signing out. Laters.
Later, guys.